Hey guys, Matt Marzillo here again. In this video, we're going to be talking about filtering and sorting. Filtering and sorting are something that you do once you have a clean data set. So we're not going to be calculating anything out. We're not using formulas or functions. We're just going to be applying some tools. And then once we apply the tools, or I should say, once you have data that's in a good, clean format, you apply these tools, and then you can play around with the data and start to really get answers to questions or start digging a little bit deeper and uncover some things you might have otherwise not known. Really powerful tools. So what we have in front of us here is a data set that shows, and this is a data set that's very true to form. I changed some things around because I had to, because this is something I pulled from a previous job of mine. But this is very true to form, right? So we have item usage. So we have different items here, unique item number, description for that item, a manufacturer for that item, so the company that's making this item, so it's made by J&J company. The classification for that item, we have 4 different classifications. We have patellas, tibia base plates, femoral knee components, and tibial inserts. So this is similar to a video that we worked on a couple weeks back. We have the cost for each of the items, the number of times it was used, and the extended cost, which is essentially cost per each times quantity. Usually it's 1. There's a couple times where 2 are used in this data sheet, but not many. And then back over here we have the doctor, so the physician that's using the product, and the hospital that they're using it out of, right? So I worked for an organization that had about 12 hospitals, and we were always trying to compare how different hospitals are doing things differently in order to potentially save money, right? One hospital might be using less expensive products and doing a better job, and we want to make sure to try to find that so we can use that as a best practice. And this video and the next one on pivot tables are a great way to get there. So first things first, you want to make sure you have a clean data set, right? You want to make sure that you have a header row here that's complete, that you have headers that mean something that makes sense, and that there's actually something in these cells. So as you're scanning across the top row, it looks like we have a nice clean header row. And you also want to make sure that you don't have any columns or rows in which every cell is completely blank. You're okay with having one blank cell here or there, or multiple blank cells here or there, but if you have one row or one column that's all blank, you're going to have problems when you try filtering and sorting. Okay, so now that we're sure that we don't have that going on, we have good headers. The first way that you can apply a filter sorting tool is you just highlight the top row. You click on sort and filter, and you click on the filter button here. So let's do that again. So you're in the home tab, editing, sort and filter, and you click on the filter tab. So there you go. So now you see these arrows pop up, and when you click on one of the arrows, it allows you a couple different options. And here the first thing we're going to do is sort largest to smallest. We want to see the most expensive items per each at the top. Okay, there you go. We have some really expensive items here getting used. Tibial insert, that's nearly $7,000. Okay, that's pretty expensive. Let's say we want to alphabetize based on primary surgeon, and it sort of knows how to alphabetize with numeric characters as well, right? So we have a couple blank surgeons here, so that's bad data. Unfortunately, it's something we have to live with, but we can kind of look at doctor by doctor here if we scroll down column A here. So here's all the items that Dr. 1 used. Here's all the items that Dr. 10 used. And you can see how it alphabetizes by number. Probably not ideal, but at least it lumps the physicians all together, so we can kind of look at it doctor by doctor. Okay, let's go back up to the top. So that's one way to do it, to kind of apply a sort and filter, is by just highlighting this top row and clicking on sort and filter. Another way to do it, and let's take this off right now. Let's clear that, and then take the filter off. Another way, and the way that I would probably recommend, is put your cursor inside the data set and then click on Format as Table. And I typically say you have a couple different options to go with here in terms of having some fun with colors. I like to go with this blue option right here. It's just nice and clean, has a good look to it. It gives you the header row too. That's got the blue fill. Click on it, and you always want to make sure that this radio button is clicked. My table has headers, because you want to make sure you have headers, and we do, and make sure that's clicked. Click OK, and you're all set. You can see it wraps it up in a nice format here. It's real clean. You scroll down. You want to make sure you scroll down to the end too. I always like scrolling down to the end of the table to make sure it grabbed everything, and it did. There's like nothing, no data lingering down here that it forgot to grab. We got a pretty decent sized data set here too, nearly 7,000 lines. So something that we can really work with. So now you can see it looks pretty much the same. We have these drop down buttons and these options to do certain things with. Let's go back up to the top. Okay. Let's say we want to start working on some filtering, right? We know how to sort. That's pretty easy. Click on the arrow, A to Z, Z to A, descending or ascending. Another way you can sort too is by color. So if you have different colors within the cell, you can sort by color. But let's say we want to start filtering, right? We want to hide certain rows. Well, I said before we had 4 different parts we're looking at. I believe we said we saw an insert that was really expensive. So let's unclick everything like I just did there. So you can click all, unclick all. But let's then click on tibial insert and click OK. Okay, so now what it did is those other rows are still there. If you look over here to the left, you can see how the numbers kind of skip around a little bit. And that's because it's just hiding the rows that we filtered off of, right? We're filtering on the insert, filtering off of the other item classifications, and just looking at tibial inserts. Okay, so we can see here we do have some. You know what? Let's go ahead and sort back by cost per each, largest to smallest. Okay, wow. Okay, that item is pretty expensive. We have it sorted by cost per each. It looks like this Dr. 9 is using it quite a bit. Let's go ahead and apply a filter. So we're just looking at Dr. 9. Let's pull this down here. Okay, it's kind of tricky. You know what? A good way to fix that is by just using this search bar here and typing in what you want to filter on. Dr. 9, okay. We're going to unselect everything else. Just select 9. Beautiful. Okay, so now we can see that Dr. 9 used this really expensive $7,000 tibial insert. He used some other pretty expensive ones, but he's also using some less expensive inserts, which is good information, right? Look at this. Maybe he doesn't realize the cost, and a lot of times that's what's happening, right? So maybe we can get over to the hospital this physician's working out of and talk to him about, hey, let's steer clear of these guys up here, and let's focus on just using these products since they're all pretty much the same. Stay away from some of these manufacturers that are making the more expensive products, the Zimmers and the Strykers and so on and so forth. So you can see here, this is how filtering and sorting can kind of get you to some answers just from kind of playing around with the data, filtering on certain things, and sorting appropriately so that you're looking at maybe high cost items, things like that. One important thing to realize too is that when you put a data set in a table format like this, it sort of keeps the data integrity, right? So the rows always stay constant. So even though maybe I'm filtering or sorting on one of these rows here, or I'm sorry, one of these columns here, everything else moves with it, right? It's not like this column of data just kind of shifted and everything else stayed the same. No, the rows all stay together. You're always going to see this row together. You're always going to see, 519 together. It just shifts the order based on the column that I'm sorting or filtering on. Okay, well that's it. That's pretty much it for filtering and sorting. If you have any questions, please feel free to email me. But like I said, the most important thing is making sure that you have your data in the right format. You have headers that are complete with some good descriptions. You have a complete data set, and that you're applying the format as table inside the data set, and then just kind of have some fun with it. Thanks a lot, guys.